so much, and I would have just loved to tell you guys like stories from like being present while that movie was running and just seeing like all the craziness.
I wish I could have. I wish I could have seen that because I would have been laughing my ass off.
I'll tell you when we get off the air.
Oh
so
man,
I don't want to waste our time going down the rabbit hole.
Oh
with
man,
those
that's
stories.
funny.
But I remember like listening to that show and being like, oh, I wanted to be on just so I could trash it. So it could be like when I trash Death Proof, like I just want to be on so I can talk shit
just for that
because I hate it that much.
You gotta get back to us because you're gonna stream the new one on Hulu, right?
Yeah, because it came available on Hulu, so I'll watch it, given your guys' recommendation.
Cool. Whose turn is it?
Chris.
Me.
2?
Number 2. This is one that is crazy. It blows my mind. This was rated PG, but it's Poltergeist.
Yeah.
Poltergeist is my number 2 favorite movie. It's PG, which is nuts because when you watch it, it's creepy, it's scary, it's got a bunch of really intense scenes in it.
Yeah.
Just the scene alone when there's this guy that fucking tears apart his face.
Exactly.
I remember that part.
Yeah, there's
he hallucinates and he rips his face apart in the mirror.
It starts with like his a tooth falling out or something. Starts it, but he literally he starts decomposing in the mirror.
Is that in the beginning of the movie?
No, it's about halfway through.
Okay, I don't remember that part.
After Carol Ann gets abducted, well, I should give you guys a synopsis. It's a family that moves into a suburban home, and then there starts to be some weird activity around the house, like things bending or the chairs moving around or whatever. And then Carol Ann, the little daughter, says it's visitors in the house. And then one night, her brother, the boy, gets attacked by the tree in the backyard. The tree is like a creepy old dead-looking tree.
Oh yeah.
And he gets attacked by that, and Carol Ann ends up getting abducted through like a portal. Mm-hmm. in her home, and then they don't know how to get to her. They can hear her in the house, but they don't know where she is. She's somewhere else. So they call like a psychic and like a paranormal investigations team to come in and help them get her back, which they do. And then it turns out that the horror isn't over yet. Mm-hmm. There's still activity going on in the house, and they survive that and get out of the house and then move. You find out that the cause of a lot of the horror was the neighborhood that they lived in was built on an old cemetery. The guy said that they had moved the cemetery, but they just moved.
What was it, a Native American?
Yeah, Native American burial grounds.
I believe. Yeah. I think. Yeah.
But he said that they had moved everything, even though they really didn't. They just moved the headstones. Yeah. They never moved the bodies. That's the reveal at the end.
You remember the little dialogue? What is it, Craig T. Nelson?
Mm-hmm.
Where he's like, "You son of a bitch!"
He's like, "You moved the headstones, but not the bodies." But that's the synopsis for the film. Going back to him ripping the face off, it's when the paranormal investigation team is in the house, and it's late at night. They're all looking at the monitors or whatever. The guy says, "Oh, I'm hungry. I'm going to go get something to eat." Mm. And he goes to do that, and he gets like a piece of chicken or something, and he like gets a steak out. I don't know what he was going to do with the steak. It was like uncooked too. He just kind of like slaps it on the counter. But then like he looks and he sees the steak start moving, and then like it kind of opens up and like all these maggots start crawling out.
I remember that part. Okay.
And then he throws up, and then he looks up and he goes to the bathroom or whatever. And he was like looking at himself in the mirror. He just looks like hell. Mm-hmm. And then he starts coming apart, and like he peels his face off basically.
Oh, I don't remember that part. It's weird.
It's gruesome.
That's crazy. I don't remember that.
They do it in real time, but I feel like they get away with it because it ends up being a dream.
Yeah.
It was just like the house was fucking with him or something.
Okay.
So here's the deal. It was originally R-rated. The MPAA gave it an R rating, mm-hmm. which I can see why. But this was because it was made in 1982, directed by Tobe Hooper. I put that in air quotes, and we'll get into that in a minute. It was 82, so it was before the PG-13 rating came about, because that came about in 1984. But Steven Spielberg, who had a lot to do with this film, and Tobe Hooper went to the MPAA and appealed the R rating and ended up getting a PG because there was nothing between PG and R at the time. I don't know if it had anything to do with it being a dream. I don't know if it was because Spielberg and he had a lot of clout or whatever, but they got it changed to PG, which even when I watch it today, I'm like, I don't even know if I would rate this PG-13 today because that scene alone is like really brutal.
There's there's a lot of films that got away. Like Gremlins is not a children's film, and that's PG as well.
Yeah.
Gremlins and Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom are the reason the PG-13 rating came about. They were both Steven Spielberg movies, but because of the violence and the gore,
there's like the gray area
Yeah.
that we didn't have, back then. So they would give it like the lesser rating.
Yeah.
That's crazy though. Wow, I never knew that.
So that's those two movies are what created the PG-13 rating, but because this came out before that, it got a PG rating somehow. But it's
good pick, by the way.
Yeah, that's really good.
Thank you. That's one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah.
That's something that I've watched a ton of times. But so I want to get your guys' impression of it before I jump into like the director controversy.
Okay.
Which is like a big deal. Like, what do you guys think of it?
I think it's up there. I mean, I don't have it personally on my list, but I think it's a really good movie, especially the part with the what is it? The toy clown, the doll. Oh man, that I mean that just because again seeing this as a kid is just like that is just creepy. Your toy's coming to life and then like trying to kill you.
And it wasn't like a nice looking clown either.
No.
It looked evil from the get-go.
Especially when when it wraps around him. Oh man, that part is just gnarly.
I think that's why I have that phobia. That
It's from that movie.
Yeah.
Because this is Poltergeist was one of the first real horror films that I can remember owning. Like the cassette and really watching and understanding what I was watching. It was Poltergeist, and I don't know why my grandparents were so strict on movies, but they allowed me to watch that because I think that's pretty fucking. It's epic, but it's still pretty fucking scary.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love this movie. I went to see it. I think just last year at the in LA at the
cemetery. Right?
Yeah. They do movies in the Hollywood cemetery.
I remember you told me about that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that was one. And from the moment that they posted that, I was like, I have to go witness this because this is the perfect movie for something like this, and it was awesome.
I think that was one that they actually played in ArcLight too during the Halloween or during October.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
I think it was one of the films they played at ArcLight. I'd be curious to know how that did.
Veering off real quick, I think it's on the 30th coming up. They're going to be showing, Night of the Living Dead in the Hollywood Cemetery.
That's awesome.
That's pretty sick.
For George. I tried to get tickets and it was already sold out,
yeah, of course.
Unfortunately. But I'm glad that it did sell out.
Yes.
Yeah.
It deserves that. Do you guys know about the controversy for that film? That so when he first made it, it was called Night of the Flesh Eaters, I think. And when they changed it to Night of the Living Dead, somebody forgot to put the copyright on the name, so it became public domain. So none of that crew or George A. Romero made any money from that film at all. And that's why when you watch horror movies or things like that are in kind of that universe, they're always watching Night of the Living Dead on the TVs because it's free.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I did know that. I didn't know that though until I saw. I told you like the NFL Network has like the timeline show, and it was talking about because George Romero is a Pittsburgh native, I believe.
And so he did some of the Steelers.
He made a lot of like short like ESPN films about the Steelers
I didn't know that.
in
That's
the
cool.
70s and everything, and that the controversy came up with the missing copyright on when they changed the title to Night of the Living Dead.
Wow.
And he talked about that and how never made any money off of the movie, and there was like people were like bootlegging the movie, selling the movie all over the place, and he never got any money for it.
That sucks. That's a pretty cool fact. I didn't know about that. Oh, one more thing.
Sure.
The Poltergeist is the one where when they get like the medium to come in, and is that the lady with like the short lady with the
Yes.
squeak?
Yes.
I don't know what it is about her, but when she was talking and where she was like walking down the stairs and she's like, oh, I forget what she was saying, but her voice or what,
Yeah.
she just creeped me out. It was just like everything she was saying. I remember watching this, I was like, I don't like her. And oh man, I think she adds a lot to the movie, which is pretty cool. But yeah, it's just a little thing that I just remembered right now.
She's the one that declares this house is clean after they rescue Carol Ann from whatever dimension she ended up into.
Yeah.
But she
Of
was
course,
wrong.
it's not. Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
It wasn't. So we brought up, or we talked about the director controversy.
Mm-hmm.
Tobe Hooper is the credited director on the film.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. And you mentioned this when you were talking, like right after he died. He said you guys might want to do a podcast on like a Tobe Hooper movie, and he wasn't sure which one. And I said, "Oh, dude, Poltergeist. You got to do Poltergeist." He's like, "No, I don't. I don't want to do that because of you don't know who the real director on the film was, because it was Steven Spielberg helped to write the screenplay. I think listed as a producer on the film, but." The legend says that he is the actual director of the film, and they just kind of hired Tobe Hooper to be there.
That's crazy.
Now this was a big controversy. The reason for that is the same year, the same summer we talked about 1982 that E.T. came out, Poltergeist came out, but because Spielberg was doing E.T., he was contractually forbidden from working on another film while he was working on E.T.
Okay.
So that's why he can't be the credited director on the film, but he was basically like on the set every single day. And there's been, over the years, there's been a lot of back and forth as to, oh no, like Tobe was the actual director. Spielberg himself has said Tobe Hooper's the director, but a lot of people that were on set or were working on that film said, oh, Steven was there every day. He was the one saying, oh, maybe shoot it this way, or set up the camera here, or have them do this. So that's why there's always this big question as to who the actual director of the movie is. But that same summer, I mean, he had E.T. and Poltergeist. I think they were out within a week or two of each other.
Yeah.
And both of them were huge hits. E.T. obviously like much more of a hit than Poltergeist, but both very big movies. And do you know about the curse?
Oh yeah.
The Poltergeist curse?
Yes.
No, I don't know.
Basically, most of that none of that cast went on to do anything. Either they passed away, or they're just like Craig T. Nelson. He had coached, but besides that, his career
He pops up in a lot of stuff.
But I mean, he's not nearly as successful as he should have been, I think. I mean, I guess you can argue that.
I mean, by far, he's the most famous person in that in that cast.
Yes.
I mean, Joe Beth Williams did stuff too, but the girl that plays the older daughter was murdered.
She was shot in her driveway. Right?
She was strangled in the driveway. Yeah, strangled by her ex-boyfriend in the driveway, like maybe 3 or 4 months after the movie came out.
Wow.
Yeah, and then of course
Carol Ann
passed. She got leukemia.
Oh, dang.
Yeah,
Yeah,
passed away as a child. She did like
because there's two more Poltergeist movies.
She passed away before the third one was finished editing, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were just about to release that one, and I think she passed. She had been sick. So that's a shame.
Yeah.
And that's very strange. And then what else happened?
I don't know. I remember seeing like it might be on the Blu-ray even. There was like a documentary or just like an hour like show on like the curse of the Poltergeist. How there was a lot of just like bad things that happened around that set, and then the deaths of two